And we're live. Welcome to Virtually Connecting at OLC Innovate in beautiful New Orleans. I'm Joe Murphy. I'm the director of the Center for Innovative Pedagogy at Kenyon College. And we're connecting with Sunday Richard. And folks, why don't you introduce yourselves at OLC? You guys there? You're remarkably still.
An experiment session because we are in the middle of everything right here in the innovation lab.
Yeah, we are having trouble with our audio. In New Orleans. Yeah, why don't we do our virtual introductions first while our on-site folks get stuff worked out. Wendy, do you want to say hi?
Hi everyone, Wendy Tallio. I'm a learning technologist in a university in Central Australia, and I'm happy to be joining you at OLC Innovate, both in Virtually Connecting, and I'm also a signed up virtual participant for this conference. Cheers.
Terry?
Hello, I'm Terry Green. I'm a learning technologist at Fleming College in Peterborough, Ontario, and I'm not currently in New Orleans.
And Helen?
And I'm Helen Ward. I'm an instructor with Lakehead University in Orillia, Ontario, and I'm wishing I was in New Orleans.
Well, we will vamp for time while our friends in New Orleans get stuff set up. I know that they're trying to show up. Well, okay. Well, they're gonna come back in.
Yeah, I think they'll give it another try.
Hey, Sunday.
Hi. Can you hear us?
Yep. There. You got audio from us?
So I'm going to go ahead and Dave get a microphone for an iPhone. So he's going to grab that. And woohoo, he has all the kinds of mics.
And we're once again proving the truth that you got to have a backup plan. So,
and that you never know what's going to happen with virtually connecting.
Right. We are live. Do you want me to pause this? You want to?
Okay. We're back to a non-mic.
Okay. So we are currently live. Do you want?
If you missed the connection, I'm going to actually hand this to each person so they can keep it close and introduce themselves. Okay?
Sounds good.
Let's see. Hi, everybody. Gotta love technology, right?
Yeah.
I'm Dave Goodrich. I'm a learning experience designer. I'm, as you can see, with my lab coat I'm wearing, I'm a lab technician here in the lab. Hopefully we'll be able to give you a little bit of a tour of the lab space here in the middle of Expo Hall. So lots of vendors surrounding us, lots of people wandering in here like with on their faces like wondering what we're selling, and then we let them know we're really not selling anything. And I keep getting asked today, I don't know about you, Jen, but like, where are you guys from? They think we're like from a vendor or something. We're all just volunteers from universities, colleges, and we're all just in the space interested in providing a space for people to network and think together around using design thinking around common challenges we all face. Part of that is a game. We're actually sitting in here in a game station, which is a whole game focus here in the Innovation Lab this year. So I'm going to pass it over to John Stewart from the University of Oklahoma, because he is heading up this game station itself.
Hey, I'm John Stewart. I'm from the University of Oklahoma, and Dave was nice enough to invite me to sort of organize the game lab this year, which is a new addition to the Innovation Lab. And yeah, so we're sitting in here right now, and I'm gonna see camera.
So you don't have a white coat. Where's your white coat?
There we go. Yeah, I took mine off because we're also serving alcohol. Give a very presentable image of someone who's not drinking while they're working.
The
anyway,
white coat and
our
alcohol
first
doesn't
lab.
go.
So we're trying to get people to make video games by giving them note cards and twine, and then seeing how they react to that. So far, it's been good. Point is that video games are really easy to make as long as you boil it down to what improves your class. Current setup. Keegan, my colleague from OU, is leading the game jam right now, and he's got people actually making games, I think. Either that or they're just using our tables. We'll give you a tour around in a minute, but I'll stop talking for now and see if we can get a good discussion going.
So I know this is a bit hard, but do you all have any questions for either of these two before we kind of go and see any games?
Yeah, Cindy, can you let me know where you are? Andrea Rehn is trying to find you.
We are in the installation lab.
Okay. I'll send her a message.
So I just had one question.
Live music playing right now by Rick Franklin. He's like right behind this curtain wall and playing music while some people are collaborating on some game development out there.
Do you want to go to the tables and see that, because it's kind of hard to have a conversation? I feel bad for you guys, but if you want to jump in with questions, please go like this.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think my questions are around, what are the prompts? What are people getting started with and maybe the best way to do that would be to show some tables and show some folks doing it.
Awesome. Okay, I will start that as the question to one of these two, and then we'll go around to the tables. Oh, this doesn't work with this phone. Their question was, and this might be the question for you, that people are starting with here with the games.
So the prompt was really simple. It's just improvisation. How does improvisation play into your courses? How do you already use it, and how can you develop that into games for your classes? Either as a simple way of teaching a lesson or improving a lesson, or of redesigning a whole course around. And so we gave them some game dice. I was trying to see if I still have any in here. Roll game cubes? No, that's not it. Anyway, some dice that you roll for story cubes, for coming up with a game idea, and then you try to interpret these dice as a story about whatever you're teaching. And we were encouraging them to make their own dice. We also gave them some playing cards and showed them a couple of different card-based games, and then gave them blank playing cards to make their own card games. And then we're showing them twine-based games, them to create these video games in Twine, which is twinery.org. All around, just very simple improvisation, whatever that means to them.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and go around now.
Yeah, great.
Should we mute? Sorry for the, should we mute?
I think we're okay. Yeah. If we get a little background music, I'm sure we're covered by fair use.
This game is about a concert tomorrow night. Okay. And we were talking about the different stages and where the artists are going to be that we want to see. I think it's going to be about like this board, getting there, even on foot in the city tomorrow night. Yeah. And so I thought we could set it up so you have a card, that's the artist. You throw the dice and it tells you what stage you're at. Throughout a process by which you have to make your way to that stage.
So this is I don't know who I will listen to. I will follow the dice and follow the cards.
Well, or I know I want to get to this artist's stage. How am I going to get there? That's the plan. It's going to help me because my helper got up to get food. So, hi. There's a problem in terms of everyone wants to go to the reception and not make games. They're eating.
I made the mistake once in a conference of scheduling an event after dinner in New Orleans, and multiple people asked me if I was unclear what city I was in.
So I realize this is difficult, and you guys don't get to see much, so I might let you go ahead and talk about gaming and what you could possibly do and what this space might be at a conference. And yeah, we'll probably take off if that's all right, Joe. What do you think?
Sure, yeah. So, well, thank you for making the time. It does look like you've got a really exciting event going on there, and it's. I guess I'd be interested in what kind of interactions you're having with people around where they'd like to take some of these games when they go back. One of the things that I've worked with is that we get a lot of requests for games that are more kind of help the students drill concepts, but you also get the games that are more of a simulation of a situation. And I'm just kind of curious what you're seeing today.
Like, so like what kinds of questions that we're getting about games specifically? Is that what you asked?
Yes, yeah, that's a good, much shorter way to say it.
Well, that's a good question. It's a really good question for John in particular, because he's been spending a lot of time here, and actually caught up in conversation right now with somebody about gaming, and kind of as a follow-up. Actually, I see Herman right now. Herman, ladies and gentlemen, just walked into here in the Innovation Lab. You want to say hi, Mike?
Hi, how's it going?
Hey.
Dad, you know.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Michael.
Angela Gunder's dad. That's her dad.
That's pretty good. How are you? Glad we have the Canadian.
Oh, I didn't ask the question. See if I can grab John.
We're going to grab John to answer your question, and then we'll take off. Terry, where
That'll
are
be
you
fine.
anyway?
This one's a tough one.
Sorry, you have to keep seeing our ears. They had a question about the types of questions people are asking about making a game.
So part of it is just heads around how to make a game. I think part of it's that people think about and Madden and these really big games that are impossible to make on your own. You can think about games as like small games that you download for your phone. The games that take 10 minutes wrapped around just one concept and just portray and show that concept really clearly in a way that you didn't think about before. We're trying to help people think about what are these really simple ways of conveying a useful concept. One of the games that we had that I really liked was by a math teacher, how to get students to appreciate the concept of units. Meters, nobody cares. It's hard to get your students to really appreciate meters are important. And so what he did was he talked about, like, what if the apocalypse as a narrative? And he said, the apocalypse has happened, you've got like 100 people that you're with, and you're trying to reestablish trade. How do you establish a system of units? And so it's a math class, but he's using this narrative in this game to teach units in about a week. And it's just a very simple, straightforward, choose your own adventure kind of thing for your little group. We're trying to help people see that you can use narrative to teach anything, from math to chemistry to whatever, as long as you're sort of creative and you give the students something to latch on to. The questions are, how do I do this big thing? And we tell them, don't do the big thing, do something small, do something simple.
All right, so continue the conversation. Very thankful for you joining us, and have a great day. We're gonna go ahead and sign off.
Well, thanks so much for making time to spark a conversation, and we'll see you later. Thanks.
It's something you don't hear very often on a virtually connecting session. She says, sorry, you have to see my ear so much. That was probably the toughest one to do in a setting like that.
It's still fun.
Oh yeah, loads of fun. Kind of like the hallway conversation earlier at OER, the OER 17, and then oh my goodness. Yeah. Say virtually connecting, breaking the barriers of the physical space. So we'll hang out anywhere.
Yeah.
I did think it was neat that they, when we asked them what are people doing, that they're latching onto the narrative element of gaming. What's the story behind the game, which I think is a neat. That's just a neat question.
Yeah.
Partly because we're kind of coming at it largely from another direction. A lot of our interest is coming from people who are saying, how can I take a game that's in the neighborhood and hack it in some way to make it relevant to my students, to make it playable in a reasonable amount of time, to illustrate a concept. But it's the folks that want to do that are a little less focused with the story of the game and more with the simulation aspects of the game.
Yeah. And it's building the story from building the game from the stories of the students almost, and the concepts that they are exploring and experiencing. Yeah.
Have you heard of the game Typing of the Dead?
Typing of the Dead? No.
Yeah. So there was maybe like 15 years ago, some zombie game, a real commercial game that had its run of commercial success, and then for some reason it was released openly to use, and somebody took it and changed it. Instead of having to shoot the zombies, there was words written on the zombies' chests, and you had to type them to kill them. Like, that was a pretty awesome mix, but none of us have the game engine design skills usually to create that zombie world. But the commercial, it had its success. So like, if we were able to, after Grand Theft Auto had its run or whatever, take that world and use it to get people to practice running their bus routes or like all kinds of stuff, would be amazing. But we can't compete with creating those worlds.
No.
So when they're talking about story, that's how you can make it alive, with cards that tell a backstory, and like it's very low tech. They're talking about using cards and just chatting in person, not apps and bells and whistles.
Yeah, and it's important to remember the variations in games and how to engage in games. It's not just as you think the video games and the computer games, but the connection to board games and card games and action games. Yeah.
And it's throwing someone into a story and being involved in carrying the story forward.
Yeah. Our modern language faculty have expressed a lot of interest in that, in part because the language pedagogy is very focused on just creating opportunities for authentic language exchange. So anything that we can do that creates an opportunity for students to get out of their, out of my experience of high school Latin, amo, ama, sabata, mana, samanta, tamanta. I can remember chanting the conjugation. I can't actually do anything with it. But the shift to authentic language production is something where they're always looking for any kind of activity that'll shake the students up just enough to get them to be producing language with a couple of other students.
So you could design a game that they need to be speaking the language to move the game forward. Otherwise the game won't happen.
Right.
And that would be engaging.
There was actually a very simple one that was described that my wife ended up using in an ethnomusicology class, because they say it's addressing the problem of vocabulary you don't know. And the idea is just kind of a word that the words are up on the blackboard, and you recite the definition, and then they have to slap the right word with a fly swatter. And again, it did, it works in language classrooms just to try to change the nature of the class. And it worked in my wife's classroom pretty well to get students familiar with technical vocabulary about music cultures they're not part of. So,
yeah, those lower level skills, just the knowledge, like those simple apps and games, like identifying trees and all that stuff, that you really just do have to practice. You can use simple apps and stuff for that. It's the higher level applying your knowledge stuff that it becomes more difficult, where a narrative would make more sense.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have talked to him more about twine, which is something that we've scratched the surface of here. And basically what I found is that in our situation, twine is not set up well for multiple authors. And I'm just wondering if somebody smarter than me has figured out how to crack that nut. And we just said, all right, we'll have to be very careful about who passes the file to whom, and that's how we'll do it.
Oh, I don't know much about twine.
It's an interactive fiction engine, so it's a it's for writing choose your own adventure type games. And what's nice is that they've made a fair amount of the link this story chunk to that story chunk pretty visual.
Cool.
And it'll hold on to some variables for you. So did you or did you not collect the right? Do you have the object that you're supposed to have to complete the next task yet?
Can you like on GitHub or whatever, you can fork things so you could take it from there? They have that.
So I am sure that you could figure out how to do that. I did not believe that I could figure out how to do that with a class of non-programmers in the spring of their senior year.
Yeah, no.
And the way that the HTML is laid out, it's not real. It's not highly GitHub friendly, but I'm pretty sure it would have worked.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm going to head out. It's
All right.
been a pleasure, and we will connect again.
Yes,
We
indeed.
have-
Helen, I've been to London and New Orleans with you on the same day.
Yes, we've been in both in the same day. It's a pleasure. Talk to you again tomorrow.
All right. Thanks very much.
Okay, bye.
Nice to meet you.
Bye.